Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending this presentation and thank you for adjusting the time slot. So today I'll share my research on efficient routes of human navigators in high dimensional space, especially looking at how people navigate complex spaces of image collections using semantic and visual cues. This research was part of my master's degree in architectural computation at the Bartlett School of Architecture, UCL. So to start, maybe if we discuss why we are exploring navigation within high dimensional image spaces. So as we interact with the vast image collection, especially online, understanding intuitive navigation become really essential. And this study asks three core questions. How do people intuitively navigate these spaces? Are there distinct navigation patterns based on personal traits? Do navigation efficiency and behavior vary depending on visual vs semantic cues? So this research builds on existing literature, especially studies that use video games to understand cognitive behavior. Game create controlled environment where we can observe decision-making, learning, and strategy. But there are notable gaps. Much of the existing research either focuses on visual or semantic cues alone, so it lacks a quantitative efficiency measure, or it doesn't consider how individual cognitive traits affect navigation. So in this research, I aim to help in contributing to these gaps by integrating visual and semantic cues in analyzing both efficiency and personal differences. So the methodology here is basically involved a few core steps. First, I developed Picks to Navigate, which is a game-like experiment where participants navigated through a space of images using semantic and visual cues. I captured their routes, noting the images they selected and the time taken. Efficiency was measured by path length and completion time. So statistical analyses, including ANOVA and cluster analyses, really helped in understanding variations across these participants. So these metrics and analyses allowed to draw more meaningful comparisons between the semantic and visual navigation. So now let's take a closer look at Picks to Navigate, which is the game-based experimental setup. In this interface, participants could see multiple images and were promoted to navigate from starting image to a target using either visual or semantic cues. So the data included path choices, time spent, and participants' preferences for semantic or visual cues. I recruited 300 participants, which allowed for more robust data set to analyze patterns, efficiency, and variations in navigation strategies. So the data revealed three distinct types of navigators. The first one from the left, which is the semantic explorers. This category of observers, they took a longer route, exploring thematic or conceptual connection between these images. And this group was drawn to the meaning and relationship among images rather than the speed. The second category, which is the efficient navigators, this cluster of people focused more on reaching the target quickly, often relying on visual memory for familiar patterns, and this group preferred the shortest path. The third category, which is the balanced navigators, showed a mix of behaviors, adapting their strategies based on the context. So they used both visual and semantic cues in a more adaptable manner. When we compared visual and semantic navigation, we found notable differences in efficiency. For example, for the semantic routes, which you can see on the left side, this is a visualization of participant route in semantic trial. The blue line is the shortest path, and the red line is the navigator route. So the one on the left is basically semantic roots. However, were more coherent in terms of conceptual alignment. Participants using semantic cues may have taken more steps, but their paths had a logical flow that made sense in a narrative or thematic context. On the right side, visual routes were generally shorter because recognizable visual patterns guided these participants directly to their targets. People who rely on visual memory often took fewer steps. So I have done a cluster analysis which allowed to see how cognitive traits influence navigation. So 3 main clusters emerged, as I mentioned before. We had the efficient navigators who had more visual memory scores. They used these skills to take shorter and more direct paths. Semantic explorers had strength in semantic understanding. They preferred exploring and following connections. The balanced navigators exhibited moderated abilities in both visual and semantic. So these clusters illustrates that cognitive traits like visual memory or semantic processing really shape navigation choices and efficiency. And this could really be helpful in designing navigation tools that adapt to the user preferences. So we had like several findings. One of them is the practical implications, which is basically first, they show that cognitive strength like visual memory, semantic understanding really influence navigation behavior. For instance, digital navigation systems like those used in museums or online galleries could really benefit from adapting navigation options to suit the user's cognitive styles. Efficient navigators might appreciate direct paths with strong visual markers, while semantic explorers might prefer layered information that really encourage exploration. So just to conclude, this study provides insights into how people navigate complex spaces using intuitive cues. We confirmed that individuals who show distinct navigation behaviors based on visual and semantic cues, and that these behaviors are really linked to cognitive strength. Future research could expand more on this work by testing with more diverse image types, for example, to refine metrics to further understand navigation efficiency. Also, this research highlights the potential for personalized navigation systems that align with users' cognitive traits, making digital interfaces more user-friendly and effective. Thank you.